Death Valley, a land of extremes. It is incredibly hot, it is remarkably dry, it is vast. Within this formidable expanse lies a place of profound mystery. This place is called Racetrack Playa. It is an ancient, dried lake bed. The surface is extraordinarily flat. It appears barren, almost alien. And it is here, in this desolate theatre, that something truly strange occurs. Something that for decades baffled all who witnessed its effects. The stars of this mystery are rocks. Some are small, merely pebbles. Others possess considerable mass, weighing hundreds of pounds. These rocks move, they journey across the flat surface of the playa. They leave long, clear trails etched into the dried mud behind them. These trails are like ghostly signatures on the desert floor, but how do they move? No person pushes them, no animals are seen to drag them. Their movement was a silent, perplexing spectacle. These incredible trails can stretch for many meters. Some are straight, others curve and twist. Sometimes the paths of different stones run parallel. At other times they intersect, creating intricate patterns. For many decades, the precise cause of this movement remained entirely unknown. It was a slow, silent dance, witnessed only by the intense desert sun and the countless distant stars in the night sky, a puzzle laid out on a grand scale. This geological puzzle captivated many people. It drew scientists, it attracted explorers, it inspired dreamers. The sailing stones challenged our understanding of natural forces. How could such heavy stones seemingly glide across what appears to be a lifeless, static landscape? It presented itself as a true natural detective story. A profound enigma, one that was patiently waiting for humanity to uncover its solution. The playa held its secrets tightly. Early ideas about the stone's movement were many and varied. Some people initially thought that exceptionally powerful winds were solely responsible. These winds, they theorized, could be strong enough to push the stones across the remarkably smooth, flat surface of the playa. However, the playa is exceptionally level, and some of the stones are extremely heavy. Wind power acting alone seemed an unlikely explanation for the motion of the larger rocks. Then came the theories involving ice. Scientists proposed that perhaps water collected on the playa's surface. This water could then freeze, forming ice around the bases of the rocks. Ice, it was reasoned, could make the stones more buoyant, or crucially, it could significantly reduce the friction between the stones and the ground. This would then allow the wind, even moderate wind, to take hold and move them. This idea seemed far more plausible. Imagine thin, expansive sheets of ice. These sheets could form and trap the rocks within them, or they could form beneath the rocks, lifting them slightly. The rocks would become like tiny vessels caught in an ice flow. The wind then pushes these large ice rafts. These rafts in turn would carry the stones along with them. But for this to occur, the environmental conditions had to be exceptionally precise. And importantly, no one had directly observed this process in action. Other scientific notions also surfaced over the years. Some suggested that films of algae growing on the playa surface when wet could create a slippery slime. This slime might reduce friction enough for wind to move the stones. Others pondered if subtle seismic activity or earthquakes could be shaking the ground. Perhaps even unusual magnetic forces were at play. Each of these theories had its own group of supporters, and of course its skeptics. The mystery only deepened. The stones kept their ancient secret well hidden. In the early 21st century, a dedicated team of scientists resolved to watch and to understand. Researchers from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography embarked on a mission. They decided to observe the racetrack playa closely. They brought modern scientific tools to this ancient, enigmatic place. They knew that patience would be their most crucial ally in this quest. The desert yields its secrets slowly. This investigation would require persistence and careful observation over a long period. Their methodology was clever and thorough. They used sensitive GPS units. These were carefully attached to specially selected tracer rocks. These rocks were native to the playa. Time-lapse cameras were also installed. These cameras watched the stones day and night through every season. For several years, the researchers waited. They monitored their instruments through bitterly cold winter nights and through scorching summer days. The desert, as always, moves at its own unhurried pace. Then, during the winter of 2013 to 2014, specifically in December 2013, and again in January 2014, it finally happened. the conditions aligned. The cameras captured the incredible event. The GPS units meticulously tracked the movement. The rocks moved, not in sudden dramatic bursts of speed, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, majestically. The long-held secret of the sailing stones began at last to unfold before their very eyes. Science was about to illuminate the mystery. What they discovered was that the movement relied on a rare combination, a sequence of very specific environmental events. First, rain had to fall, enough to form a shallow pond across the playa. Then the cold desert nights caused this water to freeze, but it did not form thick, heavy ice. Instead, it created delicate floating sheets of ice. These sheets were remarkably thin, just a few millimeters thick, like panes of glass on the water's surface. The conditions necessary for the stones to move must be absolutely perfect. It is a delicate balance. First, there must be enough rainfall. This rain needs to cover the vast expanse of the playa. It forms a shallow layer of water. Often this layer is just a few centimeters deep. Such rainfall events are infrequent in the arid climate of Death Valley. This is the first critical step in the process. Then, following the rain, the temperature must plummet. It needs to drop below freezing point. This typically happens overnight in the desert winter. This cold snap forms large, thin sheets of what is often called windowpane ice. This ice must be strong enough to float, yet it must also be thin enough to break apart easily and to be moved by gentle forces. As the morning arrives, the sun begins to warm the ice. This warmth is the next key element. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, its rays start to melt the expansive ice sheet. The ice begins to crack. It breaks up into large, mobile panels. It is at this point that even light winds can play their part. Winds of just 3 to 5 meters per second are sufficient. These gentle breezes push the large floating ice panels. The ice panels in turn nudge the rocks embedded within or pushed by them. This action carves out those famous, mysterious trails. This precise and specific sequence of events is exceptionally rare. This rarity explains why the movement of the stones is so infrequent. And it explains why it remained such a profound mystery for so long. Death Valley's sailing stones are a stunning testament. They show how subtle, combined forces of nature can shape even a stark and seemingly unchanging landscape. It is a cosmic dance, a choreography of rock, water, ice and wind, a phenomenon truly unique to this extraordinary corner of our world.